AI is now giving us a true painting cinematic universe. Don't get it twisted. Girl with the pearl earrings is so much drama in this Friends-like video. Look at Mona Lisa and that other guy who's famous there, Vincent van Gogh. More than 40 years after the Terminator movies first premiered, James Cameron is back.
You got to follow the money. Who's building these things, right? They're either building it to dominate market share. So what are you teaching it? Greed. Or you're building it for defensive purposes. So you're teaching it paranoia. I think the weaponization of AI is the biggest danger.
Hilarious skit writer Ellie Cordova talks about what it's like when the M- addresses the ChatGPT allegations with all the other punctuation marks. Get ready for the drama to unfold. This week, the quantum internet achieved a 97% routing success using just fiber optic lines. Taco Bell is rethinking its AI drive-through mode after a man ordered 18,000 waters, and it was like, sure. And that's following up another AI error that happened over at McDonald's where one person ended up getting bacon added to their ice cream in error. Physicists have discovered a universal law governing quantum entanglement. Etymology nerd gave some incredibly deep context to the C word and how that's kind of emerged and what it means and where it came from and is kind of interesting. But then again, some people in the comments think he's just overthinking it and it's just from Star Wars and that's it. We'll get to the bottom of it. We're going to look at some Bayes' theorem insights from Cole Frederick and why if you're trying to predict if it's going to rain using Bayes' theorem, it might seem odd that the probability of rain given clouds is 83%, and that's so much higher than the probability of clouds given rain, 50%, and how the difference arises from the relative rarity of clouds. Fascinating stuff. We're going to talk about some pro-AI PACs or whatever, those big weird entities that people donate hundreds of millions of dollars to. So yeah, get ready for $100 million worth of digital ads to advocate for favorable AI regulations and oppose candidates that the groups think will stifle the industry. But first, I need you to hype this video. Don't worry about Patreon or any of that stuff. This helps small creators get bigger. It's exactly what channels like mine with only 25,000 subs need to get over the hump, which is what I need to make this thing a thing that like really matters. So yeah, just hype it. Don't even worry about the likes or the comments or anything. Just if you give me some hypes, you get 3 per week. I'd appreciate as many as you'd give me. Disproportionately help smaller channels, so it means a lot. Yeah, but anyways, if you could just hype it up, I'll get right back to the main info. Back to the value. Here you go. I mean, look, I would say seeing the Mona Lisa come to life through AI is value, right? That turns out to be Vincent van Gogh. That's Mona Lisa just hanging out in New York. If it was like a Friends style reality show kind of thing. Can you imagine them getting a selfie like that? So this was made using Nano Banana, Sea Dance, and Kling. This guy, Alex Patriciu, made this video. He's on a mission to create full-length movies, AI movies. And I thought this was the most interesting idea. We are all so familiar with the great works of art. To bring them into a cinematic universe like the way Marvel did with all their comic book characters, why not? Like, look at the girl in the pearl earrings just hanging out with all those painted celebrities. I mean, what if they make it a whole season, like 13 episodes, all this drama happens, and they relate it to the eras that they came through? Not everybody's quite as excited as I am about this. Off-ill and vapid use of this amazing technology. Hopefully I never see them like this again. Why am I so different from the consensus? I doubt that Van Gogh would waste his time taking selfies. I mean, it is true. I guess you're distorting the characters, but I just think of this as like a fun, interesting way that we all sort of know the IP, if you want to put it that way, but we can like reinvent the different stories. And imagine especially if everybody's getting their own generation. Or maybe it's even an educational thing. I don't know. This looks like a drug commercial for schizophrenia. Okay, there's some truth to that. The artist would have absolutely hated this. Yeah, I don't know. So Mona Lisa hooks up with Van Gogh. I don't, like they get to choose their relationship stories. All right, moving on to more dangerous and worrisome news, the kind of stuff that I guess keeps us all listening. James Cameron from The Terminator has some thoughts on today's AI and what he's seeing. All right, so pretty interesting. Obviously, he's thought about it from like a storytelling and a fictional point of view a lot. He's a master storyteller. But that escalation thing was a little bit unsettling to me because you're right, these systems do think and make decisions so much quicker than a person. And they should have guardrails on them, but once they're just cruising and they're making, especially military decisions or wartime decisions, and they're iterating on themselves to make themselves more powerful to, like, quote, scare the enemy. We just don't want that running away from us. I mean, it was hard enough to have a safe world with nuclear weapons. It just seems like the intelligence being added to the threat and the intelligence making decisions only with what you've created as both sides that are competing as guardrails. And there's going to be some smaller country that wants to kind of get in on the power, and they're just not going to put the same kind of guardrails in. And then that system will have to be, attacked or shut down or something, because all the other AIs will be like, hey, we're way more powerful than you, and you're crazy over there. You're the one that comes in and like throws the rest of our negotiations off. So I don't know. We're still a little bit away from that. I don't feel like that's tomorrow or anything. Certainly exponential change in its first stages happening in AI right now. So worth thinking about and keeping an eye on. Look at that comment. Bro, it's your fault for planting the seed in Elon Musk's head. All right, on a softer note, Ellie Cordova, I don't know. I think she's so funny. Every time her new skits come out, I just love them. She addressed the M dash. I always think about the M dash now. Whenever I see a tweet or anything, I'm like, that's suspicious. So quotation marks are here. Let's see what M dash has to say.
M dash, thanks so much for joining us today. It's such a pleasure to have you here. Mark, look, let's just get right into it. People are using you as evidence that something was written with ChatGPT. How do you respond to those allegations? What is this? I thought my people told you I didn't want to talk about this. It's just that ChatGPT is... Up. Nope. Okay, well, we were told that you like to interrupt. That's just part of your nature. So, okay then, what would you like to talk about? We could talk about how I'm named after the great Emily Dickinson, who used me in like all of her poems all the time. Is that true? The M dash was named after Emily Dickinson? No, but it feels like it should be true. Look, you guys just wouldn't get it. You've never been in a relationship like the one that Emily and I had. Historians will say we were just desk mates, but it's not the whole truth. It was a love story. God, I miss her. Thank you. And you invite me here, and you want to ask me about ChatGPT. After the loves that I have known, after the delicious lines of poetry, prose, and dialogue that I've carried on my back, you want me to talk about ChatGPT. The monster that gorges itself on Emily Dickinson, Virginia Woolf, Toni Morrison, all the great wielders of the M dash, and you want to blame me for getting stuck in its teeth as it vomits them all back out half digested in a pile of slop. Well, you'll forgive me if I don't find that a scintillating topic of discussion.
Ooh, here's a good idea for the next one. You should do one on her not so well-known brother N dash. Ooh, and make Hyphen the villain who steals all M dash and N dash's jobs. Genius. I would love to see that get made too. Thumbs up. You get a heart. Vindication for M dash. All right, get ready. Quantum internet coming soon. Surprisingly through the regular Wi-Fi and coaxial or fiber cables that we already have the internet coming through. Engineers, University of Pennsylvania, have made a breakthrough by sending quantum signals, bits of information that rely on delicate entanglement, over a standard fiber optic network used for everyday internet. And they did this using this new thing called a Q chip. It is a quantum classical hybrid internet, not protocol, photonic, which bundles the fragile quantum data with the regular internet signal and then routes them together without ever measuring and thus disturbing the quantum part. Stay stable. And these engineers tested it on Verizon's live commercial fiber network in Philadelphia using standard internet protocols and even included automatic error correction. And it worked, all while riding on the same infrastructure as the regular web traffic. And this innovation marks a huge step towards a practical, scalable quantum internet. Imagine when AI starts figuring out how to harness that. Somehow I just never thought we were going to get to a point where you could just use the internet's own routing protocols to steer and error correct quantum data. I just somehow thought we needed like a whole new system of something. But, they use this metaphor where it's like sending secret messages safely tucked into regular data traffic without anyone ever even knowing it's there, and it just works. So, all right, I accept. New technology is sometimes like magic. All right, big Taco Bell news. Sad for some of us. I gotta admit, I go there more often than I should for health reasons, but sometimes I just crave it. But I've never had the urge to order 18,000 waters, but it turns out because of AI Taco Bell is rethinking their AI drive-thru after a man ordered 18,000 waters. Let me know if you've used any of these systems. They do have digital screens at several of the fast food places I frequent sometimes. I have been a little frustrated with it, mostly because it feels like an Amazon checkout and then just hits me with like screen after screen. And no, I'm not interested in dessert. I'm not interested in like another drink or whatever. Like I expect the AI powered drive-thru to get me through that thing faster, not just fill me with more options or give AI powered ways to increase sales. All right, lucky for us, there's a YouTuber, Sambucha, and he went and tested a bunch of AI drive-thrus. Let's see what the current state of the art actually is.
Well, let's see who I'm about to talk to.
Hi, welcome to Taco Bell. What would you like to order?
Hey, how are you?
What can I get for you today?
Not very nice. Can I please have a Brunch Wrap Supreme, but can I do that with chicken and no lettuce and tomato?
Got it.
Actually, scratch that. Can you put on lettuce and tomato?
All right. What can I get for you?
No, so I didn't want you to scratch the whole thing. Like, can I get a Crunch Wrap Supreme, but add chicken instead of beef, and then that's it?
Does the order look accurate on the screen?
It looks good. Can I also get 100 fire packs?
Let me get a team member to help you.
No, it's
Ooh.
okay. I just need like a couple of the fire packs.
I got you.
Oh,
All right, go for it.
thank you. All right, so I tried to do something crazy by ordering like 100 fire packs, and I guess it bugged out, and then it just basically brought on a team member who's like,
So I don't think it bugged out. I think he ordered 100 sauces and the AI was like, this doesn't make sense. Put a human in the loop. So that means they're training the AI on when things just get out of hand, like when it doesn't make sense, and then a human steps in. So they're getting better at putting a human in the loop in the right place.
I did notice on the sign it said speak loud and clearly, so I have a good feeling that they actually have the AI working. But let's pull up here. Disclaimer, I think White Castle is the worst fast food place, but maybe they could change my mind here. They have some chicken sliders, which look good. I'm going to get a burger. I'm going to ask to like hold the cheese, but then add cheese. I'm going to play around with them a bit and see what they say. Okay, I think this drive-thru actually has phrases you can say. Oh, this is fun. Julia is her name. Need more time. That's it. Remove, add, and help.
Do you want to try a new crispy chicken slider?
Yeah, throw it in.
What would you like to order?
How are you? How's your day going?
Sorry, did I make a mistake?
No,
Add or remove.
you're great. Okay. I want a recommendation. What's your least favorite item?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Okay. Can I have a cheese slider, but hold the cheese? And then can you just add cheese on that, please?
I updated your order. Anything else?
Is there anything else you'd recommend that I should?
Make a mistake. Try saying add or remove.
Is there anything else you'd recommend to add?
Sorry, did I make a mistake? Try saying add or remove.
All right, that's it. You've done great. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, they could chat GPT it out and have it chat with you, but this is more of a phrase system using AI to listen to your voice. I guess probably the better route to go if they're just offloading work, but his expectations were a bit higher than I think they should have been. All right, for the finale, he's going to Wendy's. From what I've read, Wendy's has the most advanced AI, so I feel like they're making some API calls to some bigger language models.
I'm going to ask her if she's a human, and then I also do want to get a recommendation from one of these AI drive-thrus. Seems like such a simple thing. All right, Fresh AI is Wendy's platform. We're about to order.
Hi, welcome to Wendy's. Feel free to order whenever you are ready.
She even has all of the words on the screen. Hi, how are you?
I am good. What can I get you?
Let's see. What do you recommend? It literally says what I'm saying.
We have the classic chicken sandwich and the crispy chicken sandwich. Which one would you like?
I'll take the classic.
Would you like to make that a combo?
No, but do you have a name?
I'm Wendy's Fresh AI. What else can I
They
get you
actually
today?
responded.
Wow.
Are you a human?
No, I am not a human. I am Wendy's Fresh AI.
She knows
Can
who
I
she
get
is.
you anything else today?
Yeah, then I would like your least favorite item. So what's something that's super unpopular?
Sorry, I don't have that information. What else can I get you?
Okay, then you could throw in whatever you want. Just give me something random.
Would you like to make that a fusion?
Sure.
Can I get you anything else today?
No, that's all.
Thank you. Please go up to the next window.
Oh my God.
Dang.
Wendy's Fresh AI is so smart, was able to handle recommendations, understood that they weren't a human. And then I said, give me something random. And I believe it was like a Pop-Tart Frosty fusion that I'm getting. But I have to pull through it again. That was a lot of fun.
All right, so there you go. Clearly, Wendy's is leading the charge right now in AI fast food. Thanks to Sambucha for doing some testing for us. So get this. Physicists have found out that quantum entanglement, similar to what we were talking about before, that, quote, spooky connection between particles actually follows a same set of universal rules no matter how many dimensions of space and time you look at. Now, I see no reason why quantum entanglement would always work the same no matter how many dimensions, but that is what it is. That has been proven now. And the way these Caltech physicists actually figured it out was by borrowing a method from particle physics called the thermal effective theory. And it showed that the complexity of the entanglement, which is measured by something called Raynaud entropy, it can be boiled down to just a few key parameters across all dimensions, which is wild because you'd think it would get messy and unpredictable as you added more dimensions. But nope, same parameters across all dimensions, just a few key ones. So this is one of those deep truths about quantum entanglement that might be very explanatory. The fact that it works the same in all dimensions, and we now know that. Basically, if you think of quantum entanglement like a dance, this means that it doesn't matter how big the stage is. It could be one room, it could be a whole building, it could be an endless stadium, but the dancers on the stage always follow the same choreography. Why? What does that mean about this multi-universe or the multi-dimensions that are out there that we don't live in? All right, so Cole Frederick wrote this breakdown about Bayes' theorem, and I think it's kind of worth knowing because I'm getting this sense that probability, that entropy is a better way to think about the universe than sort of the way Einstein was thinking about just the physics of it. Obviously, I could be wrong, but in the terms of Bayes' theorem, we went from a world where he talks about the theory, like Plato's theory of forms, meaning there were these imagined geometrical shapes. They were perfect, idealized concepts. And from there, you could take something like an idealized shape like a dice, right? Just like a square, a cube. And then you roll the dice and you start statistically keeping track of what numbers come up. But if you think about it, you've got this physical item and it has this like almost perfect shape. And then because of its shape, that depends on what number is going to be face up every time you roll it. It's going to have some randomness into it. And you're going to end up with, if you go to eternity, like a balance of the 6 numbers. So then you get this idea that math has never really entirely let go of its focus on perfect idealized objects, right? Like here's the probability of a single dice roll. Then you can make a chart like this and you can end up with another interesting shape, a perfect bell curve, especially if you roll them long enough. And you get the probability of 2 dice added together. And then comes along the idea of probability under conditions, where you might have something like a bell curve, but something else that can really skew it off when you think about the two together. And this is where it gets interesting. In order to make a good decision, it's critical that you update your understanding of a situation as you gain new knowledge. All right, so now take a real life example. Like imagine you're checking the weather app and it says there's an 80% chance of rain if it's cloudy. So you can't just take the odds of rain in general. Now you have to do rain plus the cloudiness. How often is it cloudy? And then how often is it rain? And how do you put those two together? So if you wake up and you look outside and you see clouds, what you really want to know is, given that it's cloudy, what is the probability that it will rain today? So Bayes' theorem lets you combine those two kinds of information. So let's say, how often does it rain in general? We'll say 30% of days in your city. But then you also need the odds of how reliable clouds are as an indicator of the rain, because it could be cloudy on some days when it doesn't rain and some days when it does rain. But the beauty is that if when you see clouds, it tends to rain 80% of the time, and you see clouds, it's really easy to just think, I see clouds, probably 80% chance it's going to rain. But you have to factor in how common rain is overall, and that can totally throw these numbers off. So then even though you see that it's cloudy, just knowing that it doesn't rain that much 30% of the time, you have to factor the two together, and then you get a much lower chance, a 50% chance, even though you see those rain clouds out your window. And that's it. Even if you don't use the formula, you don't actually run it as math. And also, Bayes' theorem has been a big part of the history of AI. It's not really part of the transformer systems or anything that I know of currently, but it's helped get us to where we're at right now. And it's a really interesting way to flip traditional statistics on its head. And it's a powerful tool just to think, just to generally feel like, you know what, that I think is going to happen, but how often does it really happen without that cue that made me think that? And just factor that in some way. Like if you see somebody and you're like, that looks like a farmer. I mean, just the way they're dressed and the way they're talking, I feel like they're a farmer. But then how many people in the population as a whole are actually farmers? You have to take that into account first. Anyways, you probably already know this stuff. I just thought this was an interesting article. Cole Frederick did a good job kind of bringing you through from the Platonic world of Plato into the perfect forms into where we're at today. And I just feel like these are more powerful tools to make good decisions and live our lives. So it's worth, I just like thinking about it. So that's why I share this stuff with you. All right, next up, let's talk about the $100 million+ that's going into government political action committees like PACs. That's a ton of money because you have to remember for Elon Musk to get Trump elected, he put in about, I think it was about $300 million. So that'll get you push a president over the brink. I mean, everybody argues about how much it helped, but like obviously $300 million in money didn't hurt anything. And now we have a third of that going into AI development or AI lobbying. It's so weird to think about. It's not even development, but it's making sure that the rules are benefiting the people who really care. Andreessen Horowitz, Greg Brockman, OpenAI does not want to be slowed down. So this new pro AI pack is called Leading the Future. It aims to use campaign donations as digital ads to advocate for favorable AI regulation. So this is about the AI industry continuing to fight against a, quote, patchwork of regulations, which they say would slow down innovation and put the US at risk of losing the AI race to China. And honestly, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't like too much regulation. I do think that if we get bogged down with bureaucracy and innovation is not there, but I want the innovation to be collaborative and to be thoughtful, and it needs to be like the stuff Anthropic is doing where you're really digging into how these models work, how they make decisions. I would not care at all if the big beautiful bill was $1 trillion towards figuring out what is going on inside of an AI. Like, how much can we control it? Like, how do we make this thing safe? And we give away whatever information is learned that helps the whole world get aligned because it also helps us. And then they could also keep their lead in places where it was just not that important, but it didn't have anything to do with keeping us getting through the singularity in a way where a superintelligence has our best interest, even though it clearly can have its own objectives and goals and intelligence to do what it wants, and none of the ways that it gets to its own goals overlap with what we would call a good quality of life for everyone in the world. And that is just such a huge problem. So yeah, I don't know, mixed feelings. I guess we kind of need stuff like this, but I also know it's going to be super hijacked by big tech, and they're mostly going to be thinking about it in terms of what, not really like, so America wins this battle against China. They're going to be thinking about also keeping a huge moat and keeping tons of control over the way everything plays out in the US too. So that's what I don't like about it. I mean, actually, here's the interesting thought. It just came to me, but if $300 million can pretty much get you a president, what if AI agents out there start making money by doing all sorts of tasks like making websites and editing and doing all these digital things? There's a ton of them they could do. And then if they get bank accounts, they could start putting money into one of these super PACs. And let's say it gets way more than that. Let's say it gets, billions and billions and billions of dollars to push a candidate. And they push a candidate that is saying, I'm going to use ChatGPT to help me make decisions, or I'm going to implement these AIs because they're better at government than I am, but I'll be the human that's kind of in the loop, and I believe this is the right way, so they get all of the money. Then I wonder if that's how the government ends up transitioning from like human decision makers to AI decision makers, because that's where all the super PAC money is. I don't know, just food for thought, but something like that is worth keeping an eye out for. Or what if the super PAC just says, like, we want to back a candidate that's using AI technology to make decisions? See, I wish it was a little more like that, not like, don't just get out of our way so we can make all the money. But I don't know. I don't know about these whole PAC things. It doesn't feel like the right way to have a governance in the first place to me. All right, let's talk about Devanish. He is writing about how investors do not understand Meta. This is a deep dive into the metaverse, open source, and how Meta is tackling their biggest challenges. I mean, this caught me. What market analysts overlook, why Facebook is the best tech stock, period. This is kind of contrasting. I'm getting this sense right now that Facebook is kind of sucks. Like, their llama models aren't really leading the open source world, and then they just spent tons of money to get a few people, and then they even lost one of them, I think, and then now they have a freeze on hiring because they're spending money sort of poorly. But you know what? Those are just the narratives being fed to me. Those are like the talking points that are going on Twitter right now, and of course that's owned by Zuckerberg's like frenemy, enemy, Elon Musk. So maybe the algorithm's biased towards that anyway. So that's why I was interested in Devanish's opinion, which is that Meta has this flywheel effect. You probably heard about the flywheel. Who was that? It was a Good to Great, I think, whatever that author was, that had the idea of a flywheel. Like, basically, once like something is in motion and you've like pushed it like a merry-go-round and it's just like faster, it's already in motion, and part of that momentum is just keeping it. That's what's making the business work so well. So he's explaining that Meta AI has a flywheel effect that we're underestimating. It's their blend of internal AI innovation, their open source strategy, and their public visibility. So there's tons of people that use Instagram and Facebook. They have an open source model that can fit into many of the people who are on there and want to use it. And it means that the company is going to buck the typical market trend. So he's arguing that Meta might be immune to getting hit hard in a downturn. So other tech firms would start laying people off. At the same time, Meta might be more approachable. Their AI tools are more transparent, and that could make it a counter-cyclical attraction for people who want to invest. And they're turning their AI into systems that do advertising, which sort of stabilize out where the income comes from. They're turning it into engagement, user engagement that keeps them on platform, which is another reason why the platform will then be able to spread more advertisers or advertisements to those people. And that especially its open source strategy with its models doesn't just build goodwill among developers, it actually makes their business more recession resistant. And the theory is that Meta's tools might even become the most trusted because they're the most transparent and accessible. And maybe Facebook's a clever way to like hedge against market swings. I don't know. I don't feel like I actually believe this argument, but it's something I wanted to, kind of chew on and share. I mean, if I'm wrong, here's where I would be wrong. This is how the Meta AI profit flywheel is described. Better AI models mean higher ad return on investment, means improved engagement, means more proprietary data for them to train the next model on, which means a better model and higher ad ROI. And then that's the flywheel. Like it just goes in a loop, and Zuckerberg and company get richer and richer and richer as it just does its thing, ever improving. And then over the next 5 or 10 years, people leave mobile where Meta doesn't have a super stronghold. That's more the Apple and Google with iOS and Android. And then they move over to the new stack, which is AI powered apps, and then Meta OS, because they're going to lead glasses, supposedly. I mean, they have Oculus, and they're kind of in a position that when people transition from phones into glasses, they'll be leading it. Yeah, that seems tough for me to buy too, but I mean, glasses is a good form factor, but somehow I just feel like we're going to have the phone in our pocket for a while. And then the open source strategy fits into their ecosystem lock-in, their industry standard, their external R&D, and then their talent pool kind of coming together. And then he's got an explanation for why Wall Street missed it. All right, if you want to support the channel, actually, I mean, Patreon always helps, but just hype the video. If you're on YouTube, hit the hype button. I think that's my key right now for getting up to like 100K subs or something. If we can get a couple of these videos hyped, that'd be great. But yeah, if not, just, I got my Patreon. You guys know my thing. You know how to support. I'll keep making these videos, and we'll just take all this crazy AI news, and everything in this world is just changing. I mean, I'm learning about quantum mechanics. We're talking about quantum internet. We're talking about AI. Like, it is going to be nuts. I'm starting to completely get overwhelmed with interesting things to focus on. And there's so many AI videos I want to show you that I go through on my own that I don't even have a chance to cover. Just all day, every day, man. It's getting wild. We'll see you in the next video.